Now stand for anthem. Be seated for resumption of tag. Wherein previously fire was employed in order to get the treads properly fused together and into a mountable state, leaving me out of build things to do before diving into decorative phase. I then spent the week of off-camera time failing to organize the necessary supply missions to go out and find the things that I need for a plan. Fortunately, there is further physical work that I can do to pave the way for that. So, by way of apology, to go ahead and get things underway here, I can start by revealing one element of what I'm going to do with the decoration plan. Kind of foreshadowed by talking about being satisfied that there's all this hollow space here and all that, void up here in the upper hull to work with, and resultant gaps that will exist over the treads in the hull in this just continuous space up here. So what I'm going to be doing is getting a strip of LEDs and gluing it on in there, and ideally working out some manner by which the battery remains vaguely accessible. Battery or some manner of switch, probably taking advantage of the gap under the turret there in some way to get that accessibly mounted in, and then this will have underglow. So for a bit of a just test preview demonstration of how that might appear, let's just toss a flashlight into the body. Yeah, just a little too far ahead for the curvature. Oh, but that in, and then let's well, now I have to reduce the illumination of everything to see if any amount of that actually slips it. Well, you can see the forward seam there. That will end up sealed off, though, once everything is properly closed. Actually, perhaps to get a better view of how that might pierce. Rather, just shove a light onto the top. There we go. That's a bit closer. So now let's go and douse for lighting. See how deeply we can. Yeah, it seems like it'll get out there. Yeah, serviceable, and especially since there's going to be like more angle involved, since it'll be going down from in there, and I can like improve the optics of the interior just by like going to be applying some glossy coats to a lot of the undercarriage, and then also the interior of the hull will be getting like a nice light. Probably the entire thing will be getting a base coating of some kind of glossy chrome to serve as a foundation. then over which any further decorative efforts will take place. Since as I kind of picked up from overhearing like somebody else just in like a miscellaneous podcast video discussing costume making, they considered that like a lot of the usual approach to going about decorating something that's supposed to be metallic is you apply whatever color scheme you're doing and then like brush on little highlights of glossy metallic shades or places that are supposed to be like rusty or marred or so forth. And really that's kind of backwards to what you're trying to represent, because on an actual metallic thing, it is metal, and all of that, shine and gloss and metallic tone is underneath. It's the base and the foundation. Then whatever color it's been painted is on top of that and has gotten scratched away by use. So if you really want to get that kind of authentic appearance of metal, you would want a glossy metallic base, then paint whatever color scheme over top, then scrape off some of that upper layer afterwards. That'd give you that more accurate representation of a slightly worn-on thing. There's not going to be any false wear on this, ideally, though. This is going to be, once done, it wants to look very well maintained and cared for. Once we get to that finely groomed vehicle. So anyway, the hinted at physical work that can be done in order to better prepare for that is that also, to give it more points to glow out of, I'm planning to just try to cut a few small holes around where all the various slits in the hatches are, so we can get that glow emerging from all of those points just a little bit once it is implemented. Like, you can just get like a little bit of a cut behind that hatch, behind that one, and side doors and so forth. Also, in particular, go ahead and carve a little hole in the base of the turret in here so that the light can also come up into the interior of the turret and emerge out underneath our captain as they are standing up there commanding the vehicle. Just have them lit from below by the glow of the interior. That will be something to see if we can effectively pull it off. So for today's session of efforts, I get to drag out the knives. Go about very carefully trying to etch some small holes in the interior of the tank in the right spots to correspond with each of these. And if anything ends up going wrong with how they appear, it will be very easy to then just take some scrap material and glue it in there in order to seal over any gap that will not fit in. Also, furthermore, since speaker systems were mentioned there by the crowd, an extended goal that I have in mind for something that I would have to build up from scratch in order to do, but would be pretty great if you get it accomplished. Build some sort of like little tiny miniature DJ station up here to mount onto the turret where the commander is. Have it so they're standing out here, in the cupola with the little machine gun, but then also some turntables just up here over the 35mm cannon, 37, whatever it is. The small gun also has the station. Let's lay you down for now, though, because we have cutting to do. I just wonder if there's like enough breathing room around the sponson to just get a bit of light to emerge out of there. No one will expect the party vehicle. Self-propelled morale boosting. Heavily armored discotheque. Alright, so we gotta kind of visualize where on this that hatch even is that I can properly measure it out. sort of around here. I could consider starting the cuts from the outside, since that would also, by definition, put me in line with my target, but then that would also start cutting into the exterior surface, and I don't want to muss that up too badly. Would rather try to keep it safe. So yes, supply missions. I have to go out and acquire necessary different paints with glossy finishes for the relevant colors. And find an appropriate LED size and form of LED strip that I'd be able to throw in here, and then figure out where to best mount a battery for accessibility. If it became necessary, I could try to tech out how to get one of these bigger hatches attached in a non-cement way, because that would open up more accessibility in the shape of the hull. If I successfully have the hatch able to firmly mount on but remain removable, then that opens up battery manipulation. At some point I'm going to make an incision into this tank. There's only so much preamble that can be done to waste time. It's happening. The initial scratches are going into play. Let's actually, you know what, I can, for visualization, just do this in terms of, like, width of the blade. Really, I'm trying to cut around here. So yeah, lights, glossy finish, some manner of DJ booth. If I were planning to go even deeper in on mods, if I'd like planned this from the start and wanted to do some sort of, you know, hard mode, full out customization, go about like following up on, I had mentioned jokingly but also as an actual thing, that some Lees found use as like utility HQ vehicles, because once you, it is quite a bulky hull, there's a lot of space inside there, so once you rip out some of the fighting machinery like the 75mm gun, you end up with a lot of extra space to put a mobile office in. Someone could capitalize on that mix of actual trivia and jokesy trivia by, say, replacing the main gun with a sponson-mounted speaker. One with far more elaborate model modifying credentials could even consider like carving that section up and actually like installing some sort of music player inside of here. Have your little model noise tank fully equipped to play whatever you'd like. I'm always wandering way out of scope for the second miniatures project, though. We'll settle for good, fun, jokesy decoration scheme. I keep slowly chipping away at this plastic. Deep have I even gotten here? May even be preferable to switch over to the file. At least on target for where I should be cutting this hole. Oh yeah, that's the RAM, isn't it? One of several successor tank building projects that started on the Lee as a base and worked to, you know, transform it into a reasonable tank. There's a lot of the guts of a Lee inside of there, but, you know, fixed. What happens if you get a Lee, you know, a shave and a haircut? When you clean up the underlying structure of the Lee. Gotta learn posture and etiquette. I'm not feeling a whole lot of progress with carving away with the knife. Then again, I'm also just kind of very gingerly poking at this area. I'm not sure how long it'll take to get through the thickness of the hole, and I want to avoid overextending. At least I always have as a final check here to just throw the light inside and see if I've breached through, or even started to, like, thin the plate anywhere. Once I've carved through a lot of it, it should become just even a little bit semi-transparent. Once it's down to a very thin strip of plastic. Two forward ones will be probably the hardest of the cuts I'm intending to make. Just quickly surveying the exterior again. Yeah, there's like one more hatch back here that I might ignore, but then... yeah, like the side ones are just the thin piece that was glued in, not the main body to cut through. The underside of the turret, that's pretty thick. That'll take some effort, but it's also... I don't have any, like, delicate piece that I'm trying to line up with on the other side. Whoop. Easy there, turret. Calm down. You'll have your chance. It feels like the file is managing to cut a little deeper just by grinding. Might be starting to see it. Not yet, still plenty to cut through. You know what, let's just... how much of this blade can I slip through that? Nah, that's definitely not wide enough to accommodate the scalpel cleanly. But do I have a more narrow one? I do. And even beyond this, I have smaller blades that I could mount on. So let's see. First of all, from the outside. Do a couple of tiny pilot stabs. There we go, just put some dents in it. Something to break through into. Let's see how this performs against the interior. That might already be the pivotal moment here. Getting closer. One at a time. If I end up finding a good workflow for these cuts, I may also try to punch through the two tiny wall-mounted machine gun ports there. The unused ports. But that would probably be a bit excessive. Especially since each additional gap that I open up is more of the light that's being made to bleed out, and I don't know how powerful the LED array will be until I have it in hand. So I wouldn't want to overextend it and end up losing out on whatever intensity I'd get out of them. Drill would probably be better suited to those little gaps. I actually don't have a powered drill though. The interior of the hull is definitely, like I mentioned earlier, going to get a bright, glossy coat to help redirect all of the light, help avoid losses to absorption on the interior. Get as much as we can directed outward. Make sure that all aspects of the hull geometry are favorable to the party. Properly competitive noise delivery system. I'm not even entirely sure if my interior cut is properly lined up with what I'm doing from the outside. We should be quite close. But to be sure. That's about right. Depth-wise. I think we might be off a bit on the height. We should be fairly close. I gotta be careful that I don't inadvertently loosen the grip on the blade. firmly mounted. So I don't think what I say this hull even is. I'm gonna keep aware. It's like maybe a good 2 millimeters of plastic. That would keep me understanding when I may have cut too far. Yeah, so we've maybe bored about halfway through the hull in here. And I'm seeing something that looks like progress. On the interior side of that, let's see. Camera isn't really getting a good angle to pick up on how much of a dent that is, but yeah, there's kind of barely visible. There's a dark pocket in there. Looks like progress. Let's... No light escaping yet. The day I plan extensive knife work, and the day I don't have like 3 coffees before showing up for tank work. Not one and the same. Why would I need cool, precise motor control when operating fine cutting tools in confined spaces? That's crazy talk. Now remember, at the scale that the model is built, I can just go reach over here and find tape measure. Scale the model is constructed. This object here. We're about 4 mil wide, so 35 of that. At the scale that the model is produced, our tiny file here, the tip of our knife, would be about yay wide, 14 centimeter wide metal spike. Some powerful cutting and grinding tools, wearing away at the interior. The recurring theme in my works of exploring the gap between what is possible and what is wise. Man, I could just cut a hole in the tank. I have a knife and a file. It's just plastic. It's 2 millimeters of plastic. What's gonna get in my way? Nothing. That's not even that. Let's throw down the measure again here. No, I had it right. That's 2 millimeter thick. Which then, at the scale of the model, would make it 60 mil. Which is actually vaguely close to the armor thickness on the Lee. Yeah, forward armor 51. .51 millimeter at its best, 38 at its thinnest. So if anything, our MIDI is some kind of jumbo Lee. Been toughened up. If I ever get the opportunity to branch out into metallic miniatures, that sounds like an amazing idea. Feels like the knife is managing to get a lot deeper into the slot here. Has it perhaps finally gone far enough? Oh, still no breach. The vehicle is holding up remarkably well under these stress trials. Practically invincible. Maybe bring another of the files into play. One has more of a point to it. Sort of triangular, angled file. Getting some kind of proper tiny hand drill, definitely high on the priority list after experiments like these. I have a set of drill bits, but not a drill to mount them in. Perseverance in the face of self-imposed adversity. This is how we'll win. Okay, a pretty substantial dent going there now. Let me just, for my own sake, brandish the tip of the file up here against the camera to try and get a good view of how much cruft is on the tip there. I think we're hitting about the right depth now. And definitely just being able to, like, poke my finger into the progress so far. I can just, like, by way of sense of, you know, you understand the relative positions of parts of your body, I can grok that the dent we have is behind the target. That could stand as a possibility there, Dalek. Just make an improvised change of schedule. Still no breach. But yes, for those not in the know, Hylics is a quick, relatively short, surreal indie RPG that I picked up recently on Steam sale, and I'm planning to do a blind stream through of that at some point, possibly later in the day when this is being recorded. Time will tell. And it'll be, whenever it happens, I'm planning to try to have Voice a Dog along for that. Because, you know, my usual content is just far too firmly rooted in sanity. We need to go deeper. How much depth is the plate adding to... Oh, well, there's a problem. Well, however much progress I'm making, it's getting a firm enough grip that when I try to stab through the front, it is getting greedy and trying to steal the blade from me. Which I suppose is a good sign, really. I'm getting somewhere. I'm biting into this thing. If only I had the means to procure more powerful tools by which to facilitate more building. More customizing. To continue to erode the barriers between mind and matter, allowing creativity to flow free. Right, I can now distinctly see through the forward hatch. Not sure if the camera will be able to catch it. Probably not. I've created a substantial counter dent up front there. Wait, yes, there we... Hello! First ray of hope, if I can just... Rapidly, tank. Tank. We'll pick up there. You can see first tiny breakthrough. Or no, is that just a scratch that's coming up somewhere else? Maybe perhaps false hope, or maybe, yeah, a sign that I was off position with the interior. Yeah, that's definitely a dent that's coming in through the front. And yeah, that's lighting through. There we go. Alright, so I was off target with the interior portion of the drilling. It can now be corrected, though, as we have found our breach point, through which... down to the other side, yeah, definitely, there you go. You can see that first faint gleaming. Alright, so from within... a new cut. Now that I know that all of my previous interior effort was in fact completely wasted. Have enough of a pilot scratch for the file to bite into. Should give me the foundation that I need to make noticeable progress. progress being taken off camera for ergonomic reasons. Need to get a firm grip and a closer view. There's still a substantial gap between where I'm sitting and where the camera's field of view is. Right after a first round of work with the file, I am no longer confident that. Well, let's see. It's possible that I've just also bent and crushed some parts of this around. Do another forward stab and see what opens up. Also finding ample conflict between arm positions that give the camera a good view of what's going on and arm positions that reduce the risk of brutal slashings. Meant to be disconnect. Also, this hand very much is not in the mood to do any fine work. Highly overstimulated. The old non-dominant jitters. Now that I have confidence in my positioning, stabbing from the back, from within, I help facilitate things. The hull is being very stubborn. Which, in most other scenarios, you would put in the favor of the model. Hey, it's durable, it's robust. Not some sort of cheap, crumbly plastic that is going to vanish on the breeze, holding up to all sorts of unnecessary bullshit. You can see that little pinpoint. Unreasonable modifications I am subjecting it to. It endures. It's taken most of an hour of concerted effort just to poke one hole in it. This miniature M3 Lee is highly resistant to unplanned holes. Which, frankly, is a bit of an immersion break, considering how perforated actual Lees would get. Ah yes, the tragedy of the pipe cleaner. Co-opted as an arts and crafts tool, completely removing its original purpose of clearing debris from tubes. The original purpose of those fuzzy strips of wire, lost to the ages. I think we have a proper breakthrough. Where previous light escaping was a matter of appropriately thinning the hole, I think, yes, we have finally pierced. Blade managed to get from one side all the way through to the other. There we go, yes, proper light spilling through. 40 minutes of brutal assault by X-Acto knife successfully penetrated the hole. Let's do a little more to clean up and broaden that gap, and then we move on. Where, with how much effort this has taken, I think the next step would be to move over to the other heavy task of cutting open the bottom of the turret. Heating the knife might help with the cutting process, but that also adds another layer of shenanigans and hazards that could go wrong. Doing so after I've already expended an hour of effort doing things the less than great way. When I am already kinda tired and focused on not cutting myself open, keeping all of my blood in place. Adding fire to the mix is not advised. It is firmly... Actually, while I have this embedded here, let me look from the outside and kind of visually confirm how much the tip is actually getting to the other side. You can just barely see there if it gets into focus. A little bit of a wiggle there, that's how far we've pierced. A fine piercing it is. Yeah, that looks about right. That's how much light that I would want escaping from this in the final build. If we can achieve similar holes in the other hatches, that should do. That'll, you know, add some glow, but not drastically cut into the amount of light that we'd like primarily directed down or up to the commander. It also occurs to me that I think this little notch up here is like a periscope for targeting the gun. I'd consider that another part that I might think of wanting light to spill out of, but getting there would be more elaborate. I need to open up the front of here, but then also there's a bunch of solid block of plastic between the main cavity of the hull and that exit. So I think I'd go with that. I could just paint something bright into that slot. Just make it glossy. It doesn't necessarily have to glow. Little bits of consideration to recognize as we go through the work. So yes, on the main hull there is then, so yeah, 4 other hatches that I would consider cutting slots in to let light out. There's one on the corner here, both of the side doors, and this one right up at the back. And carving those open will go a bit smoother since I've now experienced that the better starting point for that is to stab from the outside first a couple of times until I get a nice indicative dent that shows me where to work with. Oh yeah, well the underside of the turret does have some gaps in it already. Those are ones that are firmly filled when it's actually snapped into place. So, once more, with the bore. So, just quickly eyeballing, yeah, the commander firmly stands on this part of the turret when he is in there, so I don't have to worry about, like, accidentally creating a gap that the tiny man would fall through and embed himself too deep into the vehicle. There will be no tiny workplace hazards for the tiny machine operator in this case. Yes, the M3 Lee project motto, mistakes were made, but we're too far gone. The M3 Lee, no turning back. M3 Lee, we had regrets. Right, let's try. I think my objective here will just be to create a little square. It's properly illuminating the interior of the turret. That definitely seems it'll take more than a pinprick's worth of light. So instead I'm thinking like cut a firm gap, a couple of millimeter wide. I could get a benchmark if I look at how much light can get through the currently existing gaps. Well, the answer is not much, but that's also partly because it's having to deflect around at weird angles, and because the interior of the turret is very dark. Like the substance of it, it's all the same deep plastic that isn't very reflective. Could make some attempt to drop more chrome coloring into the interior. Probably occur anyway, just in the process of spray painting all the outside. I'm definitely looking to cut a bit of a substantial hole into the face here. But once I can get a pilot gap anywhere, I can then proceed, mostly on filing and shaping to widen it. I'm going to focus on using the knife to just poke. Just need that initial breach. There, historically accurate white interior. Except not at all, because we'll be going with yet more metal. More gloss. There are more elaborate Lee models out there somewhere that have like a fully modeled interior that you could fit your 6 or 7 brothers into. I had my hands on one of those with this concept. Oh boy. That would become a project. Oh, hey, the couple of machine gun actually has managed to maintain its dexterity and properly cement into its footing. That's not the piece bending, that's the little slice of plastic it's embedded in properly traversing. Very nice. Good to see. That'll help protect it from snapping off while we're doing this. Alright, once I commit to stab as my primary means of making progress, it moves pretty smoothly. I mean, once again, I'm not sure how thick this plate is in total, but already a healthy ways in there. Who knows, may have already even pierced somewhere. Well, I know how we could now, if I just embed that in there and take a look from above. Yep, we got it. That's through. We're in. If I can just achieve the right angle. Yeah, you can kind of see the glint of it there. Fine penetration. That provides a fine guiding hole to get the file in there and start promptu drilling. And from that, just very quickly, there we go, a nice pilot gap. So much light gets through that, by comparison. That's a massive improvement already. Here you can see, you can actually see some light being caught on my hand there. We place our commander man, he's being kind of appropriately underlit to get like a proper thorough view. I don't want to do what little I have accessible to blot out the competing light sources and so forth. And do more thorough tests when I have access to a darker environment, but for now that's some good proof of concept and no reason to stop the drilling. Go ahead and broaden that up. And I mean, with the pilot hole out of the way, any further augmentation of it won't take long. Done the hard part. You can kind of see a bit of that glow. It's a start. I think painting the interior is going to have the biggest effect on the effectiveness of any lighting scheme we throw in here. That hole went much faster than the other one. Guess let's go ahead and cut some more of them side edges. Now that there is some semblance of a system. We have the prototype cut that was made there, the M3 Lee of cuts in the hole in the M3. Let's hope that future cuts can be more of a Sherman. Or at least a Grant. And we've made an interior dent with the opening stab on that one. Gotta believe in the stab. Actually, since I have that confirmation spot, guess we'll make the second stab from the inside. And just right away get our gap. Marvelous. Second hole. Stab A, stab B. We have a system. And as the thinner parts, the side plates should be far easier to achieve results against. Knife, please. Tank, please. This is not yours. Such a greedy hole. That one looks like we're through right away. Yep. A bit of a messy cut, but the painting and the lighting will help serve to smooth out the rough edges. There we go. Greatly improved turnarounds the moment I gained confidence in the knife. Just need to remain in that safe spot where I am confident but not yet hubristic regarding the knife. Hubris knife ends up costing a lot of time. Good cut. Also got a little unintended gap here, back here in the corner that I'm going to fill in with something in order to seal off. That's just one of the plates involved in the back here is a little warped or otherwise out of position. He nudged. We'll just get that back panel up here at the top. And that'll be the last of the planned cuts in our current take on the design. Yeah, I gotta be careful here. It's getting tired and wobbly. Applying force in less than ideal angles. Such that, yeah. On and snapped the very tip off of this knife. Think? Maybe? Yeah, I've successfully embedded our first piece of historically authentic shrapnel inside of this M3 Lee. Tiny crack in the blade. Keep working with it for now, since may as well. Let it die as it lived. And it's not even necessarily dead. I mean, the rest of the cutting edge is still fine. It just won't be doing much poking anymore. These are your final stabs. For the better, really. You're not really meant to be a stabbing knife. Cutting is what you were made for. All I've done is filtered out a vestigial organ. You don't need a tip at all. Finally cutting like you used to. Remembering who you are. Yeah, that's in there pretty firm. It's just about getting results. Yeah, almost there. We have a healthy dent on the inside. Just need to go ahead and give it a confirmation poke from within. Stab that has to happen on a really rude angle from inside, though. Nominally rude. Can at least wedge most of the hole between the knife and my hand. That's a nice buffer to have. Yeah, there we go. That's some healthy piercing. You can see it making its way through. That'll be a fine cut. Only about half of the slot has actually been breached clean through, but that's more than enough to provide our lighting needs for now. Something that can be fine-tuned at a later point. So, there we go. Short, but eventful session, like the last one we're in. We went ahead and paved the way for some eventual decoration. Oh man, a lot of the edge of that one is pretty thin as well. That's good. I like that. Yeah, probably the other one. Also, yeah, that'll be nicely highlighted with a fair degree of just surrounding glow. Got hatches ready to be bleeding light from the interior. Our pilot hole through the turret. Have some underglow for the commander. We got some vague concept proven that any remaining light will bleed out over the treads and give us a nice ground effect. Alright, next time I will surely remember to have gone out and gotten the rest of the important tanking supplies so we can move forward with tank.